Okay, so this video is about the many different chord options available. I recently did a video revisiting Insta Composer, which is one unique way to create chords as well as melodies, bass, etc. One of my subscribers asked a question, which one in Ableton, as far as Max for Live, is available or out there that I think is good or useful? And the answer to that is they're all useful, but it depends on what the user wants to do. So is there a way to do similar things as to what Insta Composer does? Give me 1 second while I turn this mic down just a little bit. I feel like it's kind of loud. Okay, back to the video. Actually, it's not loud. I'm just loud. Okay, so Scalar. Let's talk with Scalar first. Okay. In my opinion, Scalar is probably the best when it comes to creating chords and playing the chords live. What do I mean? Well, it has this human feature that allows it to add velocity and timing. And because it has that, to me, in my opinion, it sounds the most natural when I use it. So if I pick any chord progression, lock it in, here it is on this key right here. Now I don't have my MIDI controller connected, so I'll turn it on, but I'll use the MIDI controller up here first. Okay, super simple, whatever. And how I play it on the keyboard makes a difference, right? So it's going to automatically vary the velocity and vary the timing, meaning that the notes will be a little bit off. Some of them before, some of them, which gives it more of the human feel. So it's less work when it comes to putting chords in. And to me, that's valuable. Time is valuable, and I want to be able to create in the fastest possible way, especially when I'm just developing the song, like getting it started, because there's so many parts that could be in the song. So you can see why Scalar would be beneficial. Scalar also is amazing because you can literally pre-plan your patterns. See, so you could switch from pattern to pattern and have it all planned out. So in other words, you could have your intro, your verse 1, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, bridge, whatever you want to go through. So Scalar has all that built into here, and it can detect what chords are in a song. Now, is it the greatest detection? I don't think so, but it's pretty good, and I definitely like it when it comes to that. So it's probably my most used and the one I would always recommend to people, because you can get it on the iPad as well as on the desktop. Now, tonality is not on the desktop, but on iOS, I enjoy it too. It can read scalar chord packs, and it also works on the iPhone. So when I'm making songs on the iPhone, sometimes I'll use tonality because Scalar is not on the iPhone. So those two are my most used. Now, can we still do things in Scalar like create melodies? Well, technically, yes. It is more work and requires a bit more. But if you look under the performance tools, you'll see there's strumming, there's melodies and bass. So you could even create the bass within here, and it does require some deep diving. Not a lot, but it does require some extra effort to know how to use that. Okay, how to use the bass portion. But you can do it using the performance tools. And it does have strumming. So to me, that makes Scalar kind of invaluable. And I've said this before too. I did a video on the importance of learning scales. To me, tonality and Scalar 2 are the best. 1 second while I check something here. Sorry, just felt like the output was a bit high. I'm going to turn this down just a hair bit to ensure that it's not picking up any extra unwanted noises. Okay, back to the topic here. So when I click here, I can see in this scale D minor, these blue notes represent all the notes in the scale, which make it easy for me to just learn the scale and immediately start soloing, right? Or coming up with a lead or a melody or a bass line, just off of seeing that. Some of these other programs don't offer that. Tonality does. You can learn the scale while you're in there. Now, Max for Live. What devices do we have? Well, there's a few that are built in, but then there's a few you can buy. So one of the ones that you can buy is right here. It's called Chordimus. Here, I'll open it up. Just click here. And here's what it looks like. You need to go visit a video that I've done so you can learn how to use it. It is a different and unique at the same time device, but it is a Max for Live tool, and it's made by Optimus. Okay, so check him out. He used to be on Gumroad, but now I think he has his own website. So check it out. I don't know if it's Optimus, even though it says Optimus. I know it's like Lee Strement or something like that. But anyway, check him out. His device is really unique and cool too. There's so many randomizations you can get on chords, which means that you could actually come up with a lot of different varieties in there. I'm not going to go through everything in here, but this is one Max for Live tool that you can use to create chords. Now, what does it not do? It does not do the melody, nor will it do bass. And when I say it won't do bass, I'm not saying you can't add a bass note. I'm saying it doesn't help you to learn how to play bass in your song. Okay, that's what I mean by that. Now, the other tool is something that is built into Ableton if you have the Max. Well, before I do that Max for Live, I'm going to show you this one. Here's another Max for Live. It's called M2TM. Here, I'll show it to you here. This is what it looks like. And I've done a video on this if you want to check it out. You can literally write in the chords that you want and it will make that progression. It's pretty cool. If you understand chords, it's super easy to use. And one of my favorites that I don't use, unfortunately, primarily because a lot of times when I come in, I don't know the first chord that I want to play. But you could use this in conjunction with a scalar plugin by coming up with the chords in Scalar, writing the chords down, and then placing them into this box here. So you type in the chords, and then it will generate those chords. Now, why would you do that? Maybe you don't want to record Scalar into here, or maybe you have another app on your phone you want to use, and you just want to come up with some progressions, or you read about a progression on YouTube. Somebody talked about a 2-5-1. These are just numbers of chords, and you want to draw those chords in or write those chords in. This is a better way to do it than sitting there drawing out the notes manually. However, I will say this, and it won't generate if you don't write. So in other words, if I put A and I'll just do this real quick. B 7, C minor 9, G. We'll do G flat 7. I'm just making up something. Oops. Hit generate. Boom. There's the chords. Okay. They're not in the scale though that this is up here. So ideally you would set your scale before you do that if you know the scale. Now if you don't know the scale, what you could do is randomly pick a scale. So let's say we're going to go A major. Okay. So we changed it to A major. Now these notes are almost all in the scale. If they're in the purple, they're in the scale. Some of them aren't. But to fix that, then you would have to go ahead and go back to this one and go fit to scale. Now everything's in scale. But that's not these chords anymore. Now they changed, right? So you have to be able to know what scale you're in prior to you putting these chords in. Ooh, that's bright and loud. Let's do this. Since we have them there, we'll shift down. Oops. Shift down. I think that moved it an octave down. Let's go one more octave. Yeesh. And if you don't like something, you could always go shift up an octave. Oops. Move that out of the way. And you could adjust these notes. Shift up, or shift down, or you could invert them and do that type of stuff to get the things. But you need to kind of know what you're doing in order to be able to use this. Otherwise, if you have no clue about chords, this will not help you. It's more for a person who knows chords and understands chords, or someone who's maybe learned enough about it to be able to write in the chords and adjust stuff. For instance, if you want a bass, you can add a bass note to this, right? Click generate, and it's going to generate them. Again, there you go. And then you shift down or whatever you're going to do. Oh Lord, it put 2 in there. But anyway, you get the point. All right, so let's delete this. I'm going to get rid of this MIDI clip. Make it easy. All right, shift. We'll create another MIDI clip. I'm going to show you something else. Now, what can M2TM chords do? Well, it just does chords. So it's not going to really give you a melody. You're going to still have to figure that out. But what you can do that's in Ableton is you can use the seeding. So that's this. And what seeding does is allows you to select the area you want the pitch to be in. So let's say if I want my pitch, aka my melody, to be right there. I want to make my notes for my melody a bit longer. Maybe I want to bring the velocity down a lot more. And then I don't want 4 voices. When it says 4, by the way, it means it can play up to 4 at a time. That would be more like for a chord. So we're going to do 1 voice, and then you just change the density, and now you have a melody. And that sounds terrible because it's pitched too high. So we need to get the pitch maybe a little bit lower. So we'll go there, and then we'll generate a new one. And every time you click generate, it'll generate a new one. Now, that doesn't sound good because there's no chords with it. So obviously you need to go down here and build some chords to do that. But I'm just showing you could generate the chords on one track and have another track and place the melody. I find this good for bass sometimes, not so much melody, but you could use it for a melody. You really could. And it would be up to you to distinguish how you want your settings to be. Okay. So again, that's that. The other thing is there is one called Stacks, and this is Ableton's version. By the way, let me delete this and make a new one. I don't feel like going through undos. This is Ableton's version of Chords. I don't like it because I think it's kind of an awkwardly weird thing to do for chords. It's more confusing, I think, than anything. But if you look in touch here, you can look at the bottom. So I can't do both and show you, but look here where I put my mouse over it. Pay attention to this. And you can see this is a B, D, F. It's a B minor. Okay. So if you generate, it's going to give you just that, a B minor. Now, if you want to add another chord, you could add another one. You could do up to, well, you could do more than 4. And then you can get different shapes. And then if you look at the bottom, you'll see what the shape is. Like this is a B6 sus4. You change this one to this. This is a B minor 6. Notice they're all B. So you're going to have to go in and change the root of each one. So let's say you want this one to be G sharp, or you want to invert it a little. So you could do that. Then you could go here, maybe change this one to A2. And then on the last one, let's do that. And we'll change this one to something. And you notice it's picking notes within this scale because the scale is already set. Now, if you don't like the sound of these, which you probably won't, there's always the ability to do select all and then do a shift down. Okay. That'll put you starting on the 1. I should get a regular piano because this sound in Keyscape is a road. Let me just get just a regular studio natural piano. And I'm going to turn this down. It's a bit loud. Okay, that's fine. All right, so going back here. Okay, all these notes are in key, so you don't have to worry about fitting it to key. But maybe you don't like this one, so you might go shift down, right? Same thing here. Maybe you want this one a little lower, go shift down. And now they're a little bit better. Maybe this one, let's see, shift up, nope. And you can always invert the notes, meaning if you want this note up here, it's fine. You can move them. It sounds really bland, stale, I must admit, and I would probably never use this. However, you could work with it, shorten the tracks a little bit. Then you could go to, by the way, you can also use offset a little bit if you want to move the notes around. You can also shorten the duration of a note. Okay. And then, of course, you could go use some of the other tools. Like here, they have one called Strum. So you select everything and you can strum the notes, see? And if you want this one to go a different way, maybe you can do it a little bit that way. Same thing here. And it sounds more like somebody played it, maybe a little bit. You could do it slightly, but this is stuff that Scalar 2 already does for you if you turn on the humanization and click on both. You'll have the velocity as well as all of this. Plus it has a strummer, so it can do all this alternate strumming. So this is more work in my opinion, but if you don't have Scalar 2 but you have Ableton, you know, you can use this and still get it done. All right. So that is the Max for Live. That is the Scalar 2. I talked about tonality. I have a ton of videos on tonality, so please feel free to watch those. Chordimus is available as a Max for Live plugin, so you can gather that if you want to buy it. And then I'm going to show you one more thing. M2TM, which stands for MIDI to the Max. They make other plugins. And one of the ones that they make, as you can see, there's a bundle down here, by the way, if you want to get everything, buy their bundle, is MIDI progressions. So this is MIDI progression, or MIDI devices. It says progression devices. There's the Chords one that I showed you. And then there is this one. Okay, so I think recently they did a, let me see on this bundle. If I'm not mistaken, they did another device. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so one of them, it says MIDI device that works both in Live 11 and 12, whereas the latter only works in 12. So if you don't have 12 and you have 11, this one only works in 12. This one works in both. So get the ones that are in blue that say MIDI devices. Okay? Because otherwise you won't be able to use them. And this is the bundle where you get both. But if you don't have 12, you probably want to just go with the one that works for 11. Unless you're going to get 12 later and then maybe you just get the bundle. So it's up to you. Okay, so here's their Fugue maker. You can watch their video to learn about it, but I'm just kind of introducing you to it. So they have more plugins, obviously, that you can get to. I don't want to play this, actually. I want you to know about it. Okay. So if you use iOS, MIDI Fugue is a pretty cool device for generating kind of like melodies, basically. It's basically what it's for. It's just to make melodies. But it's kind of cool if you've ever tried it. They tell you how to use it, and I may try it, but I'm not 100% sure I want to use it personally. When it comes to melodies, I feel like personally I need to play them. I don't usually generate melodies like that. And if I do, I use another tool. I'll show you that in a second. All right, progressions. So here's M2TM. I'm going to say this right eventually. All right. By the way, they're not paying me. I'm just showing you this. But here's one of the things to note. They support over 150 rhythmic variations. So that's a good thing because you need rhythmic variations unless you're going to play them in yourself. And in this case, this tool is not to play them in. It actually just generates the chords. But notice here it says over 700 billion different chord progressions. 700 billion. Insane. Right? So you should be able to get, I don't think you'll ever use 700 billion different chord progressions. But let's put it like this. Soon I'll grab this and make a video on it. It won't be tonight, but I will do it and I'll let you know what I think about this. But I've read a lot and seen their video, and I think this is a worthy grab. If you want something that makes progressions for you and generates it, because you maybe struggle with that, then this is where you want to be. In fact, you select the root note, and then here's a drop down with a bunch of different chord progression ideas. And then you can tell them how many chords you want. Looks like you can set the duration, and there's different random patterns. I'm guessing the R means random. So if you just want to hit that, you can just random everything. And then you can select the bass note and the inversions, etc., etc. So this will be something that I probably will grab. I'm big on trying MIDI progression devices to see how well they work, because so far Scalar is top notch to me. It's going to be hard to beat it. But this would be pretty cool if this actually works in Ableton. Now, in my opinion, grabbing the one that works for the Live 11 and 12 is probably the better choice. Maybe. I don't know if I would grab the bundle. I don't know if I want to just grab the bundle. I think I would want the whole thing. Oh, this is the chords. I'm on the wrong one. My bad. So here's the MIDI tool progression. Make sure you pay attention to that. Don't grab just one that just because it says chords. Progressions is different. And this device works for both. It's a little bit cheaper. So if you go get the bundle, you do realize you're getting the one that works for 12, and then and you get the one that works for both. So read, and read again before you buy. It says they can assist you in generating harmonies taken from a repository of 230 chord progressions. So they're going to use common ones, not so common ones. There's all kinds of rhythms and different progressions in here. It says at first glance, it looks like those MIDI chord packs that are popular among musicians, except no packs give you this variety and flexibility. And they're right, because packs are what they are. They're just limitations. If you combine the DV harmony and rhythmic variations, you end up with over 700 billion different chord progressions. So the DV harmony and rhythm. Okay, so I'm down. I mean, it's going to be worth it. I'm going to watch the video too, not with you, because I don't want to get copyright strike watching their video. But it looks like it's on sale, because normally they're looking for €30. It looks like they're selling it for 20. So this might be the time to buy. And I'll probably do a video about it at some point soon. Okay. There are other things down here you're welcome to look at. They have a scale library for Ableton Live 11. Do you need it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on your needs. Okay, jumping over here. This is Plugin Boutique. This is where I buy a lot of my stuff. And they're the ones that sell Scalar 2. So if you've ever bought Scalar 2, you probably have bought it from this website. More than likely. They also have other plugins, chord plugins that I've never used, like Fluid Chords. Some of these I have no desire to use, just because I don't really need that many chord progression tools. I look for the ones that are actually the best, in my opinion, and that's the ones I usually go with. Remember this: you're either going to draw in your chords, or you're going to play them in, or generate something and drop it in. So you got to figure out which one is you. Are you a person who likes to play them in? If you like to play them in, Scalar 2, no question. Or Tonality if you're on iOS. If you're the kind of person that wants to draw them in, or click them and write them in, however you do that, then use some of the Max for Live tools, or you can go with the Insta Composer and get your chords that way. But if you get Instant Composer, make sure you get those other packs so that you build on the chord progressions, because the one that's just it by itself only has so many progressions within it, and you want to have popular progressions if you're going to go that route. So that way you don't get bored with it. Okay, so that's all I got for you. They do have rent to own on Plugin Boutique. And if I'm not mistaken, let's scroll through it. I wanted to say Scalar might be down here. I know Playbeat 3 is. And by the way, rent for own is like, you can see what it tells you right here. $5.75 for 12 months. Okay. So this is great because it gives everybody an opportunity to get a plugin. Here's Scalar EQ. So Scalar 2 is here. It's $2.42 for 12 months. I mean, that's a steal. And you can also pay attention to the sales too, by the way, if you want to try to catch it on sale. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah. So there you have it. Plugins Boutique. Capture you some stuff from there. If you're not going to use that, check out this M2 TM from Gumroad. And if you're an Ableton user. If you're not an Ableton user, this does not work for you. This is only good if you're an Ableton user. And you need Max for Live. Or we could say the suite. You might as well say, because if you don't have the suite, I don't think you can use it. See, it tells you right here. It works only Live 12 Suite Edition or Live 12 Standard with Max for Live support. So if you have 11, make sure you don't get this one. Make sure you get the one that works for both with the DV on the end of it. Because then it works for Ableton Live 11 also. All right. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Until the next video, I'm out.